How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great day. Great to see all of you here. I hope everyone had a great holiday weekend, enjoyed some time with your family. I know that we were supposed to do this a couple weeks ago, and we had a last minute emergency. So I promised you guys that we would have this for you before the end of the year. And I wanted to keep that promise to you all. Unfortunately, I am riding solo tonight. My sidekick has not been feeling well for quite some time. He has not been able to pretty much get out of bed for the last week. So it's just me, but I will do my best to answer everyone's questions. I have a lot of information to share with you guys. If you guys have been on a presentation before, thank you for joining again. I do have some additional information that I don't know that we've gone over that we've shared tonight. So I have revamped a little bit of the stuff that I'm going to go over this evening. At this time, I do have everyone muted. There will be a point in time at the end that I will allow you guys to unmute and ask questions, things like that. Please keep in mind, I cannot answer everyone's personalized. So if you have something based on your situation specifically, I'm not going to be able to answer everyone's individual questions tonight because I want to be conscious of everyone's time. So we will have a Q&A at the end. I do ask that you keep it broad. If you have a question, that's fine. If I can't answer it today, I'll just advise you basically that we can do a one-on-one. I will share contact information at the end as well. So if you do want to schedule a consultation or anything like that, we can do that as well. So I want to make sure that this is as beneficial for everyone as possible. So I'll go ahead and get started, but thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you all for your prayers. And I love seeing you all here. It's been a while since I've been on a presentation as a host. So it's kind of great to be back in this seat. So we'll go ahead and get started. There are some people here who may not know who I am at all. You may have been invited by someone else, or maybe you're newer to the team or something like that. But my name is Llc Atkins. I am a mom of 4. My husband Lorenzo and I do a lot of different things. Between the two of us, we have 20+ years of banking experience. We both retired from retail and business banking. Lorenzo was also an investment advisor, and I dabbled in investments as well. I decided once I got pregnant that the investment side was too much pressure. There was a lot going on in the market at that time. And so I focused more on the business and, things like that. So have a lot of business banking experience. And we actually formed a business called the Startup Group. We do business consulting. We allow or help people to establish, LLCs, establish all the paperwork necessary for your business to become legal, all of those things, and basically help you get everything needed that you would need to do to open a business banking account, to make sure that you're protected as far as, from a legal standpoint. We also provide tax preparation services for both personal and business. And then we have partners that we work with that are able to help with, kind of the legal side of things. If you are looking for trademarks, copyrights, different things like that, we have a legal team that we work with. We have people that we can refer out for digital services. So, websites, different things like that. So it's a very, very broad spectrum. But the purpose of the presentation tonight is essentially to kind of show you guys as traders, because there's not a lot, Forex is kind of one of those things that people are still uneasy about. They don't really know if it's real. They don't really know if it's legal. And then when people come in, they don't really realize how much goes into being able to protect your assets, how to make sure that you're keeping as much of your income as possible, different things like that. My computer's not cooperating, so I apologize. My PowerPoint is like going haywire. But basically, we started the startup group when we were in banking. People were coming in to open banking accounts, and they did not have any idea where to start as far as getting the proper documentation or anything like that. So we started the startup group to basically help clients that were already coming to us to open business banking accounts. So that's where we started, and then we kind of grew from there, and it has created an additional stream of income for our family. Our daughter Kaya is actually interning with us right now. So she's learning. It's gonna, kind of a family business and things like that. So generally, my husband Lorenzo is here with me. But like I said, he is having some health complications and isn't going to be able to join us for the presentation tonight. So we will go ahead and kick it off. I don't know what's going on with my presentation. Okay. So basically, all of you, as we'll just wing it from until it decides that it wants to cooperate. All of you as traders, unless you have an LLC established already, are already sole proprietors. You don't know it already, but you already have a business of your own, even if you're not profitable. If you are taking losses and you're investing into some sort of business standpoint, you are a business owner right now. And you want to be able to make sure that you have everything set up properly to ensure that everything runs smoothly from day one. You want to make sure that whatever profits you're making, you can keep as much of them as possible. We also want to ensure that you understand what kind of deductions you have available to you, what kind of tax breaks you have available to you. Forex isn't taxed the same as stocks. Cryptocurrency tax laws are changing. There's a lot of things that are happening as far as, from a tax standpoint when you come into that Forex realm. And the benefits of having, an LLC are that, one, if you house everything under a business entity, it protects you and that business income, your trading income, from being liable if you were to ever be sued for something on the personal side. Also, having it under an LLC gives you the ability to add in some additional deductions so that you can keep more of your income. Having it as an LLC gives you the ability to kind of keep everything in a separate entity. There are situations, we have clients who, they thought that they were doing the right thing by just having a sole proprietor, acting as a sole proprietor, filing their taxes from that standpoint. And we actually have a client who was in a pretty bad car accident. They were at fault for it. And when they were sued, all of their business income was up for grabs. So imagine being a profitable trader. Maybe some of you are doing FTMO. Maybe some of you are profitable independently. And imagine that you're making 6 figures a year, and that all becomes available to someone else because whatever that may be. And we want to basically be able to protect you from that. Here we go. So when do we doing something that is going to cost you, fees? So if you think about, some of you are paying for private mentorship, some of you are paying for an education platform, some of you are paying for boot camps, some of you may be trading completely independently, but there are fees involved regardless. Your trading view, if you have a Zoom, all of those things that are related directly to your trading, there's fees involved with that. So by establishing an LLC, it gives you the legal formalities of establishing a business. It gives you the ability to kind of distribute how your income is going to look for you. You can take draws from the LLC on a personal level and just report that income as your personally. It gives you kind of a tax shelter. And then also, depending on how you hold it, we have some people who file as husband as wife as owners of an LLC. So Lorenzo and I, because we are husband and wife, the IRS actually recognizes it as a single member LLC. So we're not both taxed on that income. It's all flowing through that one LLC. It doesn't matter how many members you have involved. And then on top of that, just being able to determine how you want everything to flow and all of those things. Now, people will ask, what do I actually have to do to establish it? Is it just something that I file, blah, blah, blah. Depending on what state you're in, there's different laws for every state. There's a different process for every state, all pretty similar, but there's different fee structures and things like that. So I will show you guys, I have a cost guide that I have prepared, if it's going to cooperate. Doesn't want to. It's going wild and crazy today, guys. All right, well, we'll come back to that. It doesn't want to cooperate. This usually does not give me issues, but today it does not want to be my friend. Okay, so basically every state has an individual fee structure. So the state of Ohio, for example, it's where I am. So the state of Ohio, it costs $99 to actually apply for your articles of organization. That basically gives you, that you're approved through the Secretary of State to operate as a business in the state of Ohio. Ohio does not require us to file an annual filing. It doesn't require us to report any of, the things that some of them will have you file, like an annual report, different things like that. Ohio doesn't require you to do that. Other states, for example, Tennessee, it's $300 for the initial filing, and then they make you file an annual report, and then you have to pay a fee to them annually. Same with North Carolina. So North Carolina charges an initial fee, and then there is an annual report or filing that needs to be done at an additional cost. So every state is different. Some are more expensive than others. The state of Texas, I know, is $300 as well. So I just know those off the top of my head because those are some of the states that I have worked with clients from in the last couple of weeks. But basically, the process is that you would apply for an LLC. This would establish that you have this business name, that you are able to operate the business, that you are the legal entity owner. Then you would want to apply for an EIN. An EIN is essentially a social security number or a tax ID number for your business. This allows the IRS to identify your business. It also, if you should ever want to establish business credit, different things like that, you would basically have that tax ID number established. And then when you go to open a business banking account, they are going to want both your articles of organization. They're also going to want your tax ID number. Another thing that is important to have that a lot of people don't realize is an operating agreement. So what the operating agreement does is it establishes basically the ground rules for your business. It identifies how you're going to operate from a legal standpoint. It's also going to tell what the responsibilities of the members are. So if you're going to have multiple members of your organization or your LLC, it'll tell basically who owns what percentage, different things like that. And then it also will be determining how profits and losses will be distributed amongst those members. And then if you are, and a lot of people are, just because of the type of business that we're in, we're traders. So you're not necessarily trading in a partnership, right? Most of us are trading individually. What the operating agreement also will allow you to do is basically identify if something should happen to you, who you are going to pass your assets of your business onto. Business banking accounts are a little bit different than a personal account or a retirement account. There's no beneficiaries, okay? So if something should happen to me, for example, I own Atkins Financial Group, LLC. I am the sole member of it for different reasons. But Lorenzo, I have it listed in my operating agreement that should something happen to me unexpectedly, all of the assets pertaining to my business would be passed on to Lorenzo. If he wants to continue the business and continue operating it after I pass, he has the right to do so. And then should something happen to Lorenzo and I, then it goes on to my children. So it basically establishes that line that's important that a lot of people don't take care of or understand that there's a need for. Otherwise, if you don't have that established, your business goes through probate once something happens to you. So if there are assets or income or money deposited for those of you who don't really identify as assets, if there are things like that, it's going to go through the court and they're going to determine who that goes to or how it's going to be handled and how it's going to be taxed and all of those things. If you already have someone who's going to take it over, then that kind of creates a better process and it creates a smoother process. What you're going to need to be able to open a business banking account, you're absolutely going to need your articles of organization. You're absolutely going to need your EIN. Some banking institutions are going to require you to have an operating agreement or a business plan as well. It really just depends on what banking institution. Also, we get this question a lot. When you go to open a business banking account, there's a lot of red flag words, okay? So ever since 9/11, the US Patriot Act was formed, and this requires banking institutions to basically follow rules and regulations in regards to the Bank Security Act, anti-money laundering, and knowing your customer and knowing your business. So what does that mean for those of you who aren't in banking? They're going to ask you questions as far as what your business does, okay? If you go in there and tell them that you are trading Forex or that you are trading cryptocurrency, it's going to raise all kinds of red flags. I'm not telling you to lie because I would never tell you to do that, but you have to kind of get creative with what you're telling. Now, some of the smaller banks, they may not, but I know that if you go into like a Chase or a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America and you start throwing around Forex and cryptocurrency and things like that, some bankers who have a lot of experience are going to ask you a lot more questions than you're probably prepared to answer. So my suggestion, if you want to say that you're trading, I would say that you're a day trader. If you want to talk about cryptocurrency, I would just say that I invest, I'm an investor, different things like that. You can also utilize your LLC and things like that. So say that you start becoming profitable and you want to start investing in other streams of income. You know, if you want to take your trading assets, your trading income, and you want to invest in a property or a new vehicle, specifically for, you know, traveling, for trading, or whatever that may be, these are all business write-offs. You can put them in the name of the LLC. It's all flows very nicely and creates a very nice little tax shelter for you. So when you go in and open a business banking account, they're going to want all of these items, okay? And they're going to want you to be able to explain what it is that you actually do and all of those things. Another important thing when you go to open a business banking account, they are going to want you to have a physical business address. Now, we get a lot of people who are like, I opened a PO box for my business. A PO box is a mailing address. It's not an actual physical address, okay? So they are going to want to know what the physical location of your business is. Now, not everybody has an office location. Not everybody has a need for an office location. Some people also don't want to list their home address as their business address. I am one of those people. Now, Lorenzo and I did have an office location for a while because we do operate another business. And so we had an office location, but with COVID and everything like that, we don't really have a need to go to the actual office at this time. We do a lot of things virtually. UPS will allow you to establish a virtual address. So it'll give you a physical address with a suite number. Any mail that comes there, they will scan for you to be able to view digitally. And then if it's something that you actually physically need to go pick up for them, so say a debit card, a credit card, something like that in the business name, it gives you the ability to have a place that you can have your mail physically picked up, but also if you don't need to go every single day, it gives you that. Now, it is, I think it's like $99 a year. It is a tax write-off for you. So if you're someone who is thinking long-term down the line and you want to be able to establish some kind of credit under your business, it is ideal that you have an address like this and not use your home address, because if they go to look and see what the address is and they see that it's a residential address versus an actual business address, they're going to ask more questions. So for those of you who are taking this seriously from a business standpoint, I strongly encourage you to take that opportunity to have a virtual address. The other thing too is you want to make sure that you are staying as organized as possible when it comes to your business. There's not going to be, like when you go to work, right? There's someone in the back office who manages payroll. There's someone in the back office who manages invoicing. There's someone in the back office who manages all those things. When you become a business owner, you are managing all of those things. When it comes time at the end of the year for you to file your taxes, it's very important for you to have a detailed record as far as what your expenses are, what your income is, all of those things, because you're not going to want to be scrambling at tax time, scrolling through all of your business statements on your account. Or if you're not utilizing a business account and you have everything mixed in with your personal accounts, that's going to be a real pain to go through and have to weed out, oh, well, this was a trading expense. Oh, this wasn't a trading expense. Also, if you're someone who is earning residual income, so if you're a builder, if you're doing the multi-level marketing aspect of this, anytime you take someone out for a meal to discuss trading, part of that is tax deductible. For those of you who go to the company events or the team meetups or anything like that, those expenses are tax deductible. You buy a new outfit, you go get a pedicure, you get a manicure, you get your hair done, whatever, your plane ticket, your rental car, your meals that you eat there, all of those things. You don't want to flow those through your personal account. Like, you want to make sure that you have everything itemized. You want to make sure that you have records to back them up as much as possible. Only 1% of people get audited in the United States. But if you happen to be in that 1%, you want to make sure that you have something to back up what that is. So being as organized from the beginning as possible is going to be very, very important. Okay. So that pretty much covers the LLCs from that standpoint. I like this quote. I'm a very organized person. For those of you who know me, who are on the team with me, you know how organized and OCD I can be. I like to have everything, have it in a place. And as a business owner, it's very important. So I own and operate 4 different business entities, along with Lorenzo, and then we have another partner and another. So I like to make sure that everything is as prepared and organized as possible. So by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail, right? So having everything set up from the very beginning, it doesn't matter what part of your trading journey is. You don't have to wait until you're profitable to establish an LLC, because all of your expenses relating to trading are write-offs. So you can show a loss as a business. So we'll kind of flow into, from here, kind of the tax portion of the presentation. And then I'll go into answering questions and things like that. So the idea of the tax presentation is that you keep more of the money that you have earned throughout the year. You know that when you're a W-2 employee, you work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Some of you, I think, work like 70 hours a week right now. I don't know how you do it. Bless your heart. You know that when you get your check, you see all your little deductions, right? So you see your federal taxes, you see your state taxes, you see your local taxes, you see your medical, all of those things. When you become a business owner, those things don't get deducted out of your income right away, unless you're actually W-2. If you become a W-2 employee of your business, then yes, but your taxes aren't being paid throughout the year. So as prepared as you can be to understand what your costs are going to be from a tax standpoint is very, very important. So some of the common tax preparation mistakes that we see for people who are trading, we help, I would say probably 50% of our clients are Forex traders. A lot of them don't understand that even if they started trading 4 years ago, a lot of them don't even know that they can file their losses on their taxes as a loss. They don't know that they can deduct the office space in their home. They don't know that they can deduct all of those things. So probably some of you have been trading for years and have lost hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, some of you maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in the market and have never claimed those losses. For those of you who, maybe that is your case, you can do an amendment. You can only do it for so many years back, but you can do an amendment on your taxes. I know people have come to us and their returns are being garnished and different things like that, because they owed, money and they didn't have the money to pay it, for their regular taxes. But had they filed some of their losses for their trading or their fees or expenses that they've paid towards their trading, they probably would not have owed as much money. So we have people who are actually, we've done amendments for them and they are actually getting returns and have never gotten a return in the last few years, or maybe they fall into a different tax bracket and so they're taxed higher and they end up owing more. Or, maybe they're people who claim a lot of deductions and don't allow, as many deductions towards federal and state to come out of their W-2 employment. And so then they don't get a return, and then they're putting money into trading and they're not filing those things. So some of the common mistakes are either not filing a return or not properly filing a return because they are nervous about the repercussions of either having losses or having that income. A lot of times, even if you're a six-figure earner, there's a lot of things that we can write off to make it so that you aren't going to have to pay taxes on six figures. Now, obviously, we have to remain legal and different things like that. We have to follow the regulations that are set in place by the IRS, but a lot of people don't realize the things that they can write off. The other thing is, people will go from not being profitable for so long, and so they don't have a plan in place. For those of you who plan on becoming funded through a prop firm this year, I would definitely look into, if I make six figures this year, what should I realistically have set aside next year for when tax time comes around? Because you're not going to have taxes coming out of it. They're going to 1099 you. There's not going to be any tax taken out of it. So you definitely want to make sure that you have a plan in place. If you aren't working with a tax preparer, I strongly encourage you to find one. That is a service that we provide. If you have a tax preparer that you trust, continue using them. I'm not trying to strong arm anyone. I just want to let everyone know that that is something that we can assist with. And then the other thing is, some people are using TurboTax, H&R Block, different things like that. Those systems aren't built for people trading. There's not built-in questions. It's not going to prompt you for your Forex and your different things like that. So if you're someone who hops on and prepares your own taxes, kudos to you. But you're probably not doing yourself a lot of benefit by not having a tax preparer. Realistically, those fees are tax deductible, so it's just a business expense. So I really encourage you, especially if you're serious about wanting to be able to keep as much of your income as possible, I would find a trusted tax preparer. Also, a lot of people don't understand how the treatment of taxes. So cryptocurrency is treated different than Forex trading income. Forex trading income is different than day trading for stocks and different things like that. So if you are confusing those different areas, you don't want to be paying 30% capital gains on something that you shouldn't have to be paying 30% capital gains on. Okay. You don't want to be doing that. Do yourself a favor. You've worked hard, you've studied. If you're becoming profitable, make that extra investment and get a second set of eyes and make sure that you're doing these things properly. Also, you're not self-employed. You're a business owner, yes, but you don't have to pay self-employment tax rates on your trading income. So there's a lot of different things that become involved once you come into this market. So these are some of the things that I know that I've kind of gone over. So some of the deductions that people don't realize. So if you are on an education platform, IM Academy, Tradera, FX Social, Market Hunters has a platform. So whatever that may be, right? If you are in an education platform, your monthly subscription or your annual subscription is a tax deduction. If you pay for private mentorship, if you have taken a boot camp, if you have taken maybe just like an individual class or something like that, or something where you are basically paying someone for any type of education, your travel expenses for team events, your TradingView subscription, your cell phone. You trade from your cell phone, right? You manage your trades from it. Your internet, your home office, any computer, mouse, headphones that you buy to use for trading. Those are all tax deductible expenses, okay? Your losses in the market. We also, I've already gone over, your Forex gains have their own individual regulations. They are not taxed the same or treated the same as stocks. So if you have a preparer who's not familiar with that, you may be paying a lot more than you should be back to the IRS. So again, utilize a preparer who has knowledge and experience regarding this realm, okay? You would not come to me if you were having severe headaches and stomach issues and back pain and all of that and expect me to diagnose you with what's wrong with you, right? I would refer you to a doctor or a nurse or someone in the medical field. I would not diagnose you. So we don't want to be going to someone who doesn't have knowledge of what we're participating in for advice on how to best utilize it for our income. So I have a couple of things that I've put together because on previous sessions, people are like, well, how should I keep track of this? Okay, so as long as this works. So this is one idea of how you can manage your business expenses. I threw this together today, so it's not in chronological order, so don't judge me. So basically, you can go into Google Forms, okay? They have an expenses sheet that's already put together. I edited it a little bit, but if you want to go through and keep track monthly, okay? So I pay for an annual Zoom subscription. We did an event for some of the people in our downline in February in Las Vegas. So those are our plane tickets. I have a domain name for a website that I pay for annually. I have a trade manager, my TradingView subscription. I have a remote desktop, all of these things. So I just want to show you. So this isn't even all of my expenses. So this is one way that you can keep track, but I want to show you guys. So just right here, this isn't even all of my expenses. Right here is almost $4,000 in fees. People don't even realize how much that they're putting in that they're not taking advantage of on their taxes to get money back for, okay? So these deductions are very, very imperative. The other option, go in and make a spreadsheet. You don't have to itemize it. You could just go in and say fees. Okay, so I paid X amount of dollars for my V education. I paid X amount of dollars for my Zoom subscription, and you can just put a whole round number there. It doesn't have to be exact. It can be an estimate, but keep it realistic, right? So that is one way of being able to keep track of your expenses. The other thing that you want to keep track of as a trader is your income. So if you are profitable, okay, or if you are a business builder, if you are funded through a prop firm, when you make a withdrawal from your trading account, you only have to report the money that you're actually withdrawing, because most of these brokers are outside of the US. Now, if your broker is inside of the US, if your prop firm is inside the US, they're going to send you a 1099, okay? They're going to send you exactly what they paid you, because the IRS is going to get paid for everything that happened inside of the United States. With FTMO and some of the prop firms that are outside of the United States, also, if you're using a broker outside of the United States, so if you're using FX Choice, if you're using Prosperity, pretty much most of the brokers that we're utilizing, if they are outside of the United States, when you make a withdrawal, they're not going to send you a 1099 of what you actually earned and withdrew, okay? So you only have to report income that you are actually bringing in. Also, if you're earning a monthly commission, okay, they're going to send you a 1099 for what that monthly earnings is, because they report it to the IRS. So we need to report that we actually earned it. Okay, so it's very important to keep track of those withdrawals, to keep track of your profit split from your prop firm, to keep track of any withdrawals that you've made from your live accounts, your personal accounts. So here, I have $12,000 in income reported, but you guys saw on my last, and this is just an example. So $12,000 in income reported right here, but in my last sheet, I had almost $4,000 in expenses. So realistically, I'm only up $8,000 from an income standpoint, right? So those deductions are very, very important to make sure that we're keeping as much of our money as possible, because realistically, only the money that I've actually profited is what's going to be treated for tax purposes, okay? So the other thing too, and I think this is really important, we're coming into a new year, write down your goals, okay? And this really realistically has nothing a trade, from a tax standpoint, you may not have a goal as far as your tax standpoint, but write down your goals. If you plan to make X amount of dollars, so if you plan on making $100,000 from trading this year, you need to have a plan in place so that you know how much you're going to pay on it. If you plan to be funded by May, if you plan to have a certain rank from the multi-level marketing standpoint, if you plan to, I don't know, triple an account, if you plan to have X amount of dollars in your business account, if you plan to establish business credit, if you plan to take some of your investment money and invest it into maybe a rental property or something that you're going to Airbnb, or if you want to be able to make a certain dollar amount by June so that you can take your family to Disney, whatever that may be, it's very important from a business standpoint to understand what your goals are personally and as a business. Okay, I want to have everything in line from this point to this point to this point. It's very, very important to be as organized as possible. So now what? I've given you guys a significant amount of information. I've been talking for pretty much 45 minutes. You have three options, okay? One, you can continue going about everything the way that you have been. That's totally fine. If that's what you're comfortable with, that's fine. It takes some people a little bit longer to get out of their comfort level. I'm one of those people. Two, you can research tax laws on your own and try and figure it out on your own. More power to you. You've come this far in your trading journey. If you want to do the additional legwork to try and figure it out on your own, totally cool. Three, you can contact a tax professional that truly understands the laws that are about what you are doing. Okay, so those are your three options. If you have a tax professional, I would ask them those questions. Do they understand what Forex laws are different? Do they understand how it works? Different things like that. Are they putting these things on your return? Are they utilizing the deductions that are available? Are they making sure that they are working for you from the best benefit standpoint? I would ask those questions. If you've never given your tax preparer anything about your trading, they're not filing anything that they don't have in front of them. Okay, so if you hand them your W-2 from the post office and you hand them your tax interest statement from your mortgage and you hand them your student loan interest statement and you hand them your medical expenses and all of those things, but you never hand them any type of business expenses related to your trading, they're not filing it. They can't work with what they don't know about. Okay, so that's my challenge for you guys this upcoming tax season. Make sure that you are taking advantage of everything that is available to you, because I promise you the IRS is taking advantage of everything that they have available to them, and that is why they control our income and our ability to be rich in this country. Okay, so this is our contact information. We do provide a discount to anyone who is related to our trading group. So if you're on this presentation tonight and you want to set up a private consultation, if you want to establish an LLC or get those documents ready, I'll be honest, we're 4 days from the end of the year. We probably will not have any new LLCs established that we aren't already working on before the end of this year. If you want to discuss your taxes, different things like that, we can schedule a time for a consultation. We don't charge you to talk to you. So if you have questions, now, if you're someone who's going to keep us on for like 2 hours and dig and pick every single aspect of our brain, that may be a little bit different situation, but realistically, we're not going to charge you to just talk to you. And we wholeheartedly do this because we want people to be able to be as educated as possible about everything that they have available to them. So at this time, I'm going to look here and see. Okay. Angela, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the questions. So if we are just trading for ourselves, we can treat that as a business. What would be the nature of the business still? So the nature of your business would be trading and investing. There are different, when you go to apply for an LLC and a tax ID number, there's different things that you're going to go through. The nature of your business is going to be trading and investing from, the standpoint of actually applying for your business. When you go to open your business banking account, you can tell them that you're trading, you can tell them that you're investing. They may ask additional questions. If you are someone who is taking advantage of both trading and the multi-level marketing, you can say that you're involved in a multi-level marketing company. They will ask many less questions because honestly, I would say probably 60% of our country is involved in some kind of multi-level marketing, especially with COVID. A lot of people have turned to that. So they're probably going to ask a lot less questions. If you want to say, investing in stocks, different things like that, that you're a day trader, all of those things, those things are all different ways that you can. Yes, Pam, vision boards. I love it. I love that. Definitely go into the year having the goals and all of those things. Thank you guys. I'm so glad that you guys are getting beneficial. Can you open a business banking account online? Some banking institutions, I believe, have now allowed you to open a business banking account online. I'm not sure specifically what those institutions are. And most of them, from my experience, are going to make you physically go in and open an account. But I know that some of the bigger banks are starting to transition so that you can open them online. Can you have a physical address for an LLC, but with a different mailing address? Yes. So, but when you apply when you have your LLC and you have your business banking account, you are going to use your physical address, and then you can give them a mailing address in addition. So for things to be mailed to, but on your actual documents, it's going to show your physical address. So if I look up Atkins Financial Group LLC in Ohio, it's going to show my business address. It's not going to show my mailing address. If you have a business listed as an influencer, so some people already have business entities established already. You can use an LLC for multiple entities. I don't suggest that you do. So if you have, for example, I have Atkins Financial Group, that is my trading. I have the startup group, which is our business consulting. I have Consider It Cleaned, which is a commercial and residential cleaning company. And then I'm missing one. We have an additional. I don't mix them. So reason being, it makes it a little bit more difficult for tax purposes and keeping things organized. If you were to be audited, showing them, if you're a very organized person and you can show them exactly where A, B, C, and D are coming from, yes, you can run everything under the same LLC. I don't suggest it. But at the same time, you know, it's really truthfully up to you. You can, but I don't suggest to. Do we need to have FTMO trading view? No. So when you establish your LLC name, I would not suggest I wouldn't suggest putting like investments, different things like that, FTMO, trading view, anything, because a lot of states have very strict rules as far as what you're allowed to actually have in your LLC name. So like my LLC for trading is Atkins Financial Group. GG's is Forex and Chill. So, I mean, it really realistically just depends. You can name it anything. We have someone who they combined she and her husband's name. It's Orange Financial. Super cute how they came up with it. I just recently did one that was mustard seed. So it realistically does not have to have anything to do with trading specifically. You can come up with your own name as long as it's available in the state. Can LLCs make loans to me, the individual? So like a promissory note, is that the route that we're going? There's going to be different things involved. That's going to be more so like a more detailed question. But go ahead and email, and I will do my best to answer. That's going to be more of a lengthy response. I don't have a legal business. What should I do as far as losses and fees with my personal taxes this year? So you can still file them. It'll prompt you to do a Schedule C, but you will have to do it a little bit different because it's not, with it being related to Forex and related to trading and investing, they're not going to have like actual prompts where, so like there's going to be a prompt for your office space. There's going to be a prompt for any expenses related to your automobile. There's going to, you know, so there's different prompts that it's automatically going to prompt you. It's not going to prompt you for Forex losses. So there's a little bit different way that you have to go about actually filing them, but you can file them as deductions. It doesn't matter if you don't have your LLC established, you're still technically a sole proprietor. You are still a business owner. So you can utilize those deductions. You will just go about it in a little bit more creative ways. So if I understand you, if I trade Forex, I will pay less taxes than trading crypto. So not necessarily trading crypto if you're investing in crypto. So if you are investing in crypto and you're actually holding it in a wallet to earn money like you would a stock, if you have actually taken income from those investment holdings, those things are going to be taxed differently than you actually trading Forex, crypto, indices, metals, you know, those things. So it's a little bit different tax treatment when you go from an investing to a trading side. Can you deduct losses if you have funded an account and you have taken losses on the funded account? I don't believe so, because it's not technically your money. You didn't put up that investment. And now if you have taken an FTMO challenge or another prop firm challenge and you have not passed it, you can write off those fees because they're not going to give you a reimbursement for them. But if you have losses as far as like your prop firm gave you $100,000 and you lost 5,000, you're not going to be able to write off that 5,000. I have a travel agency and now the trading. Okay. As far as starting an LLC individually or with your spouse. So you can do it both ways. If you do it as a partnership with your spouse, you guys can still be taxed like you are only one entity because you're married, okay? You can also establish your LLC individually, and then in your operating agreement, establish that should something happen to you, those funds and the business would be passed along to your spouse. So it really just depends on how you want to do it. Most states don't charge you to have additional members, so it really just is a personal preference. Do your business? Yes. So each business would need their own individual tax ID number or EIN. It is free to apply for the tax ID number. So there's not any additional costs to actually establish the tax ID number. It's just essentially doing the proper paperwork and filing for it through the IRS. Okay, so I have gotten through all of the questions that are in the chat. I am going to allow you guys to unmute yourselves. I just ask that you're very welcome. Do you recommend using a registered agent? So we are a registered agent. You're going to want to, there's most states, if not all states that I have come across are going to make you use a registered agent. What a lot of people don't understand is registered agent can be you, it can be Sally down the street, it can be a company. The registered agent is basically who's going to handle if something comes up for your business where the annual filing needs to happen, who's going to be notified for these things. So you can be the registered agent or you can utilize a company to do so. The startup group acts as a registered agent. That's what we do. We prepare filings on others' behalf. And then, we will essentially notify you if there are different things that need to be taken care of throughout the year. It's not really going to limit the liability as far as utilizing a company. The registered agent is essentially going to act on your behalf when there's correspondence. Now, if you don't understand how to actually file for the business and you're not familiar with it and you want to make sure that it happens properly from a legal standpoint, then yes, I would. There's a lot of things that come into establishing a business. People will tell you that there's not, but there's a lot of things that you have to make sure that are taken care of so that you are protected from, from that standpoint, which is why there are companies like LegalZoom and things like that. Or, that's, how our small business, we don't charge the fees that LegalZoom charges. We're a husband and wife family owned small business that does that on the behalf of other people. So it's not really going to limit the liability of your company by having someone else. So if your company goes and does something that they're not supposed to do, having a registered agent, it's not going to fall on them. The registered agent is necessarily there for the correspondence standpoint. So I am using B for sure, trading lots of losses. Should I hurry up and create an LLC? So you don't have to hurry up and create an LLC to be able to report your losses. You can still claim your losses, even if you don't have an LLC. You can still claim your losses this tax year as a sole proprietor, okay? You're still a business owner, all of those things. I would suggest going into next year that you start working on that process and all of that. So, but just so that you guys are aware, just because we're coming into the end of the year, you guys don't have to rush out and create an LLC in the next 4 days. Some states, like North Carolina, take a long time to actually review the documents. Other states, I just did one for Wisconsin, it's approved almost immediately. So some of you, depending on what state you live in, you may not have the ability to even do that and get it actually registered before the end of this tax year, okay? I will have to ask Lorenzo. I know that he has worked with a couple of clients in Canada. We have team members that we've worked with that are from Canada. I will have to double check with him. But if you email the email that's shown on the screen right now, I will make sure that we get a response out to you in the next few days. I have an LLC. Will my personal tax return be filed separately from my LLC? It'll just be a separate form. So there'll be a separate form on your taxes. So like you'll have a Schedule C, you'll have a 1040. It'll just be a separate. So yes and no. You'll file them all at the same time, but it will be a separate form. I have an LLC for e-commerce. Can I repurpose it for trading? If you aren't using it for the e-commerce, yes. You don't necessarily have to stay in the same realm. You're welcome. Okay, so I've given you guys the ability to unmute yourselves if you would like to ask a question, or you can continue to ask them in the chat. Do you remember, or do you recommend paying yourself as an employee from your LLC? Once you get to a certain, it really just, honestly, this is going to be a lengthy answer. So once you, depending on what your goals are, so we have it set up so that right now our trading, anything related to trading, any income related to trading is for our long term. Okay, so once you get to the point where you have no additional streams of income, so if you're planning to retire from like your current stream of income and have trading be your sole income, then yes, I would recommend paying yourself. If you have other streams of income, I would not, because then it becomes a tax. So if it comes from your business account and then you are paying yourself, it becomes a taxable event. So you're paying taxes on it from a personal standpoint, and you're paying taxes on it from a business standpoint. So unless you absolutely have to pay yourself, I would not. But once it gets further down the line and you're basically taking that income from trading as your sole means of income, then yes, you would want to have that notated that you're taking a draw as of, you know, profits, things like that. Sorry, hopefully that answers your question. Lorenzo is better at some of these questions than I am. He usually takes over in these standpoints. How can you find me? So we don't have a YouTube specifically for tax purposes or business consulting. I do have a YouTube for like trading that these seminars get posted on. It's the Trading Family on YouTube. And then we do have, you know, we have Facebook, we have Instagram for the startup group as well. I don't have a website right now. I'm working on getting it rebuilt. It was pretty out of date. So I'm hoping in 2022, hopefully the beginning of 2022, I'll be able to. That was one of my goals for this year, but we've had a lot of craziness in our family. My YouTube, I'll type it in here. It's the Trading Family. You're very welcome. I'm glad that everybody found benefit. I enjoy doing these presentations for you guys. I know a lot of people, this isn't something that's common knowledge. So to be able to pour the information that we've learned over the last 10 or 15 years and be able to give it back to you guys is a great opportunity. All right, so if nobody else has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I will post the recording probably tomorrow, if not Wednesday. And if anyone is interested in utilizing us to establish your LLC or for tax purposes or anything like that, please email. It's atkinsfinancialgroup1@gmail.com. and I will do my best. This week, we're a little bit slow motion. We're working on wrapping up stuff for the end of this year. But I will definitely respond to any correspondence by probably the beginning of next week, just depending on how quickly I get everything wrapped up. All right, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Thank you all so much for participating. It was great to be here with all of you. And I hope that you all have a very, very happy new year. I'm wishing you all a very prosperous and profitable 2022. The honor to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for trusting us to provide this information for you tonight. And I hope you all take care, and we will talk to you all soon.